What's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers? It's your boy Noname, back at it again with another Giants update video. Kind of like a lot of my videos, it's gonna be a mixed bag, kind of a mailbag news day type of vid. As you all know, I recently had a collab with Kid Blue, which was recorded actually on Tuesday, but the vid/podcast was put up yesterday, Wednesday, on the channel. Go check that out. I've had a collab with The Entertainer, you guys can go check out, and one with Dan from 5Y Football. Also go check that out. And one interesting thing that I found while I was actually, on the Giants website and whatnot, just going through looking for news, and I thought you guys would find this pretty interesting considering, we're all home because of the flood and whatnot, and some of us got nothing to do, kind of bored, is that there will be a special re-air of Super Bowl 42, Giants versus Patriots 2008, on Sunday, April 12th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox. I thought it would be really interesting to mention to you guys. Maybe a lot of you don't know what's going to happen, but essentially starting 3 o'clock on Sunday, Fox is just going to show one of the best Super Bowls in NFL history, and probably, I know for a lot of you, your favorite Super Bowl ever. And I thought that was just a little interesting to get out there. I'll definitely be tuning in on Sunday. Let me know if you guys will also. But moving on with the news, I got 3 things I want to cover today. I want to talk about Aldrick Rosas, as the Giants, they signed him on, or re-signed him, extended him, whatever it's called, on Wednesday. I want to talk about Cesar Ruiz, who the Giants interviewed via, a video conference. This was a report that came out on Saturday. I'm not sure when the interview actually happened. And last but not least, another report saying that the Giants are scheduled to meet with Andrew Thomas, tackle from Georgia, also over video conference. So let's start off with Aldrick Rosas. So the Giants, they signed his restricted free agent contract, and the contract details aren't out yet. I'm sure it's something very fair and basically cheap for a kicker. They don't come much. I'm expecting maybe $2 million at most. I'll be surprised if it's anything above that, to be honest with you. Maybe 2.75. Whatever the case is, we all know Rosas in 2018. He was probably the best kicker in Giants history by season. Just by how he performed during that season. But of course, Rosas does have a history of being inconsistent, as shown in the 2017 season and the 2019 season, where 2019 was by far his worst kicking year when you go by, punts made versus kicks made versus the attempted kicks. I think it was like a 71 or 72%. I did do a video on it, but also in that vid, I did state the reason Aldrick did terribly last year and sort of regressed from his Pro Bowl year in 2018, where in 2018, best seasons by a kicker in Giants history. Selected to his first Pro Bowl, named second team All-Pro after scoring 127 points, missing only 1 field goal attempt. Best kicker in the league that year. 2019, he regressed. He was, like I said, 72% from the field, and that was due in large part, due to the fact that Zach Diassi was very bad at long snapping that year and messed up a lot of the snaps to Rosas, which in turn messed up his kicks, the direction of it, the power he could put through it, and all that. Special teams, especially in the kicking section, is very much a machine that where all cogs have to work smoothly together. You guys spray some WD-40 on it to get them working nicely. And when you've got somebody like Zach Diassi messing up the snap, which is, it basically sets up the ball. If it's not a good snap, not a good placement, you're going to have a terrible kick. And that's what happened for majority of the year. We saw it towards the end of the year where we had a new long snapper came in, and Aldrick Rosas did not miss a single kick for those last 3 games that the long snapper came in. So that's definitely something. So we did re-sign Rosas, or extend him. It's the weird restricted free agent contract, which has a lot of jargon that I really don't want to explain because I feel like you guys might not want to hear that in your free time right now. I'll put up what exactly it is as per Giants.com. But basically, being a restricted free agent means that the free agent, they can negotiate with any other team, but the original team that they're on could sort of turn down offers or overrule offers, if that makes any sense. There's a way longer explanation on here on Giants.com, but I'm happy that we re-signed Rosas because I think that Joe Judge, the new coaching staff, and the Giants in general, they've been a believer in Rosas since 2017, so I think they realized that it wasn't his fault, or at least it wasn't completely his fault last year that he was terrible in kicking, and with the, the signing of Cody, was it Cody Crater or Corey Crater? Our new long snapper, I did cover him in a video. I expect Rosas to have a bounce back year, and I don't see any need to draft a kicker or anything like that. I think we're perfectly fine with Rosas. Next up is the report that the Giants are to have a video interview with Michigan center Cesar Ruiz. Once again, this report came out on April 4th, so the interview could have happened by now, but I haven't seen anything saying that it already has, or maybe it's scheduled to happen later. And this is per Jordan Reed, the NFL. He says, Cesar Ruiz, one of the top interior offensive linemen in this draft class, is receiving a ton of interest. He has already met with 20 teams that include the Dolphins and Bears. He also has FaceTime meetings with the Giants and Jets in the coming days, per source. Now, Ruiz, being that he is a 6'3", 307-pound top center in the draft class, maybe there's only one guy who could sort of challenge him for that title. In my opinion, you know, it's probably going to be Tyler Biadasz, but Cesar Ruiz by most parts is considered the number one center in this class, probably the number one interior offensive lineman in the class, one of the best offensive linemen overall. It's not a surprise that he has had meetings already with 20 teams and has, you know, more scheduled up. He's going to meet with every team, to be honest with you guys. It's never a bad thing to have more than enough offensive linemen. You always want to have more than enough rather than to have a very thin depth chart. And of course, we all know the Giants need a center. You know, they need offensive linemen in general, but a center is definitely something they could target this year in the draft. And something that I haven't thought about before until recently, like probably this past week or so, is if the Giants went just offensive line with their first two picks. And the reason I haven't thought about it is because the defense does have a lot of holes. We do need to focus on it. But if we do go offensive line with the first two picks, and I believe Ruiz has a chance at being at 36, I really do think he's going to go to the third round. But it's not out, in the first round. But it's not out of the realm of possibility that he slips to 36th overall. Once again, slight chance. But if he does fall there, and in fact, you know, if somebody like a Tyler Biadasz is available at 36 overall, and the Giants go tackle in the first round, center in the second round, we kind of fixed our offensive line just by that, because these guys, the top of their game at their position, they're very sure players. Like, there's not really a doubt in anybody's mind that they're going to transition well. That being the top guys for the tackle class, you know, Jedrick Wills and Andrew Thomas, and the top guys for the center class being Cesar Ruiz, Tyler Biadasz, you know, Lloyd Cushenberry, but more so Cesar Ruiz than anybody, that they're going to translate their talent and their game well to the NFL level. If we go offensive line with the first two picks, like I said, not something that I considered, you know, just a week ago, but that would actually fix the offensive line and get us up and running, have us, you know, with a great, almost great, I don't want to say elite, because we don't know how they're going to be on the field as a unit, but by the individual parts, they're going to be a really, really good unit, and that gets me excited. I didn't really consider it until this week, and it could be a possibility. Like I said, anything could happen in this draft, right? It's really going to be hard for the Giants and Gelman to screw up this draft, because anything can happen, one. Two, the players available that match up with our positions in need are really good. And three, unless they go and select somebody like a Derek Brown or a wide receiver with the first pick, there's no way for them to mess up, because they can go offensive tackle, fix the offensive line, and then go with best defensive player available in the second round and plug a hole up in that defense. Or they could go Isaiah Simmons, plug up a great hole in that defense there, and then go best offensive lineman available in the second round, which is something I have considered. Or they could go just straight up offensive line, the first two picks, and our offensive line is fixed, you know, for the long term. Yes, you could argue that Solder will be gone next year, but then if we take a Jedrick Wills or Andrew Thomas, these guys could shift over to the left tackle next year, and I would much rather have an elite four offensive lineman over there with, like, you know, just a hypothetical Andrew Thomas, Will Hernandez, Cesar Ruiz, Kevin Zeitler, and then have a swing tackle as our right tackle in Cameron Fleming. In that case, I'm more prone to agree with, and I'm more lenient in having Cameron Fleming as our starting right tackle versus when Nate Solder is our left tackle, because at that point we have two left tackles, or two tackles that are weak, versus having a really good left tackle in Andrew Thomas and a weak right tackle in Cameron Fleming, and the offensive line can honestly work around that, plug in a tight end. You know, I'm getting way deep into the hypothetical situation, but it's not something I considered before. It's something that can happen, though. Now, I'm not saying it's gonna happen just because the Giants interviewed this guy in Cesar Ruiz, because like I said, he's going to be interviewed by everybody. He's the best player at his position. But keep your eye out for that. And keeping on that topic, of course, is the report, and I'm getting this per Giants Wire, that the Giants are scheduled to meet Andrew Thomas in a very similar video conference style. Also, another tweet from Jordan Reed. Thomas has already met with over 15 teams that include the Dolphins, Browns, Jets, Bucks, Chargers, and Jaguars. He also has another upcoming meeting scheduled with the Giants this week. Now, the rest of the Giants Wire article just sort of gives their opinion on Thomas and where they think he's going to go. But you guys already know my opinion on Thomas. In my opinion, he's my favorite offensive tackle in this draft. I don't understand why people consider him, number 4 out of the quote-unquote top 4 tackles, or why he's been dropping. And for me, he's the best offensive tackle in the draft, tied with Jedrick Wills. I really can't decide between the two. And if you were to force me to pick one, even though Thomas is my favorite, I will go Wills just because of the technical ability. But Thomas has more experience at the left tackle position than Wills does, and is a better all-around player than Wills is. And because he's a better all-around player, he's better in run blocking and open up lanes for the run game than Wills is. Wills is better at pass protection than Thomas is. But as a well-rounded player, Thomas is that guy. And I believe he's going to be, out of all 4 of these guys, he has the best chance to be the best left tackle in the NFL because he has the highest floor out of all of them. His ceiling is just right up there with Wills. They both have ceilings that could go God knows where. But his floor is the safest out of all of these guys. I love Andrew Thomas out of Georgia. So that's my opinion on him. You guys already know it. Giants is scheduled to have a meeting with him. Am I surprised by this? No. Just like the Cesar Ruiz one, Thomas is a top guy at his position. Very similar to Ruiz. He's had meetings with a bunch of teams already. I expect him to have meetings with almost every single team in the league, if not every single team in the league. He was at one point mocked to be the first tackle off the board. He's still considered one of the top tackles. In the draft, I fully expect him to go within the first 15 picks. So it's no surprise that he's having this many meetings. It's no surprise that the Giants are meeting with him. Whatever report comes out, right now, if they're going to take a tackle, I really only see them taking Tristan Wirfs because he's the only one that's been linked to them. And the reason I give any sort of light to those reports versus any other, I usually don't like to, base what I think is going to happen off of a couple reports. But history has shown in the past couple of years that usually if a player is linked to the Giants, they're probably going there. Saquon in 2018 was linked to the Giants. He went there. Daniel Jones last year, he was linked to the Giants. We didn't want to believe it, but he was. And obviously, he ended up on the team. Now, of course, Isaiah Simmons is the one player heavily linked to the Giants, more so than anybody else. But if we're speaking strictly offensive tackle, the only person that's been, reportedly loved by the Giants is Tristan Wirfs. Mekhi Becton has come out and said that he would love to go to the Giants, but that is different from the Giants saying they love him. The only tackle they've said that about reportedly is Tristan Wirfs. Now, I would love for them to take Andrew Thomas. Like I said, I think he's the best, tied up there with Jedrick Wills for tackle in the class. But I don't really see them taking him unless they actually do love him and we don't know. Who knows? I would love for him to take him. Thomas he would fit this team so perfectly, not just because he's a great run blocker, but he's a great all-around player. He has the upper body strength to fight off power pass rushers. He has the athletic ability and agility to keep up with the speed rushers. He has great technique. Thomas is the best all-around offensive tackle in this draft, and I would love for the Giants to take him. I would love for him to go him and then Ruiz in the second round. Like I said, it's not something that I considered just a week ago, but it's a possibility. I don't see it happening just because our defense does need to be addressed. Our defense is bottom of the league. Part of that is obviously because they're very young. The oldest player in our defense, I think, is Leonard Williams, which that's not exactly great for a veteran presence, in terms of experience. So the defense is very young, and of course, last year, in my opinion, the second-year players regressed from their rookie years. That might have been due to James Bettcher. It might have been due to the entire coaching staff in general. Who knows? But we need to address the defense somehow, and it would be better to go tackle and then best defensive player available versus going tackle both times, offensive line both times. But it's not out of the realm of possibility. Let me know what you guys think. Kind of a mixed bag episode, like I said, talking about Rosas, talking about Ruiz, talking about Thomas. What do you guys think of these reports? Are you just like me and saying that, well, it's not really much a surprise, they're just doing their due diligence? Or do you think it's something more? You think they're going Thomas? You think they're very interested in Thomas? Same with Ruiz? Let me know down below. And before I go off, guys, I would like to say something. I think I plugged it the first time when I first made it. I do have a separate podcast from my Giants Talk here on YouTube. It's made with Farhan, the guy who helped me, one of my best friends, my best friend, who helped me make all the intros, outros, logos, and all that artwork for the channel. And we run a podcast called Soda Pop where we talk about anything and everything. It's just two dudes talking about whatever topic they want to address that day. It's really chill, really laid back. I would love for you guys to check it out. I'll leave a link in the description below. This past episode, we talked about the MCU and their future plans for it. It's only our second episode. Last episode, we talked about the DCEU, the rise and fall of it. And we just got finished recording the third one, where we have a up-and-coming rapper as a guest on. If you guys are interested in that, and we talk music, not just rap. We talk about rock. We talk about, bands like Green Day, Linkin Park. We talk about Shakira, Celine Dion, Michael Jackson. We just talk music in general. And what it means to us, how it's helped us grow and all that. Check it out. I'm sure some of you will love it. It'll mean a lot to me. And I'm out. Peace. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Put your comments down below. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Until next time, I'm out. Yeah.